Hey, Jay Allen from My TrueNORTH. We're live again here in the Adazero community, and today I want to talk a little bit more about pricing. You see, over the last few weeks and months, I've spent a considerable amount of time going back through the mass amount of research that we've done and the amount of data that we've collected to be able to look at habits and challenges and common flaws and things that people are being presented with that we could perhaps help and support them through. And as part of that, one of the things that I found along the way is a common theme amongst many of the business owners that I've either worked with or currently working with, business owners that I meet and have conversations with, networking events and conversations that we have there, online forums, some of the comments that are being made on socials. One of the most common things that I see as a challenge for many small businesses, and like I say, having done a fair amount of research over the last 10 or so years through the Adazero methodology, being able to back that up by understanding that I have no appreciation. According to the Federation of Small Businesses and QuickBooks, they've said that almost 90% of small businesses have a problem when it comes, or a challenge when it comes to either asking for the sale or on talking about how much things cost, how much they charge for their services or products that they sell. Almost 90% of businesses have a problem talking about their value. And as a result of that, it's leaving money on the table, it's leaving some conversations unhad, or some conversions that haven't gone through as they ought to have done. And ultimately, it's leaving you as a business owner undervalued and underpaid. So over the next few days or so, I'm going to share a whole series of different short videos that you could implement today to look at your current pricing strategy to ensure that you're not undercharged or undervalued. I've put together the 9 most common challenges, and over the next 9 days I'll be sharing one a day to determine as to have you fallen into that trap and how to get out of it. And today we're looking at pricing problem number 1. The most common problem that I often see with small business owners when it comes to pricing is a complete underestimation of how much things cost and how long things take. An underestimation of time versus money. Now, if you're still in the time versus money conundrum, i.e. charging per hour for your time and such, this is going to be particularly relevant. But even if you've not, if you've already moved beyond time for money as a business model, and we can talk about that and the benefits of being able to move away from time for money at a later stage. But if you're still in the time for money process, then this is critical. What I often see, the most common challenge that business owners face when they first set up in business, perhaps if this is the first business, they've either been made redundant or they've had sick to death of working for somebody else, they've seen an opportunity, they've left the safety net of a PAYE salary and they've set up on their own. They've perhaps got little knowledge or understanding about exactly how to be able to price for their time, and therefore they've reverted to what they used to earn as a salary as a measure of what they were worth. Well, you know, when I was working for so and so and so and so, they used to pay me £35,000 a year, and they've literally taken out a ye old calculator, they've typed in £35,000, and then they've said, well, I'm going to divide that by 365. Well, that says I'm worth £95.89 a day. Well, some people aren't going to be paying for me all day. I'm working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, so I'm going to divide that by 7.5 working hours. Oh wow, £12.78 an hour. Oh, I'll round it up, I'll say it's 15 quid an hour. And you see people that start out in businesses. I was at a craft fair recently, and you have conversations with a few people around the water cooler or the coffee pot, and you start to realise that some of these people have given consideration of how much that they used to earn in a previous job, and then they've divided that by the amount of days in the year and the amount of hours per day that they're available for work, and determined that that's what their hourly rate is, without any considerations to the fact that while you were in salaried land, while you were in PAYE land, you were earning an income whether you were on the phone or on the loo. They were paying you per hour regardless of your output. They were earning an income from the business for every hour that you worked and passing a little bit of that on. There's no way that someone is going to earn £35,000 and then pay you £35,000. It doesn't make any sense. You were generating significantly more than that for the business, of which they then paid you a fraction of that as your salary. Otherwise the business would be making no money. There'd be no profit margin going forward. So the very fact that people have utilised a previous salary as a measure of what they were worth, and then simply divided it. Well, I'll tell you what, let's do another sum. Let's say 35,000 is the sum that we've done previously, but we recognise that we don't want to be working 365 days a year. We know that there are 52 weeks in the year, but we're only going to be working 5/7 of those. We're only Monday to Friday, rather than if we worked it out and found out that there are 255 working days in a year, if you take away weekends and bank holidays and you throw in a couple of holidays. So I'm going to now divide it by 255 days a year, and then I'm going to divide that by that 7.5 hours a day. I've just gone to £18.30. I've gone from £12.50 to £18.30 just by knocking off weekends. And all of a sudden, well, I'll round it up, I'll say I'm £20 an hour. It still doesn't make any sense, because I can guarantee you that you're not going to be earning an income for every hour that you're working. There's some things that need to be done within the business that you can't pass that cost on. There'll be times where you turn up early or go home late, or there'll be times where you're doing stuff to be working in the business, but you can't pass that cost on to a customer. So utilising the salary as a basis for how much you're worth, and underestimating the amount of time it takes to run a business, or the amount of time it actually takes to be able to prepare for a client, do all the prep, go and check out and see the client, have a meeting, do some networking, all of the other things that we do within business before we actually issue an invoice, that have got to be salaried and paid for by somewhere. That if we haven't created some form of margin within the business to allow for that, then you'll end up working for peanuts. You'll actually end up working for less than you were if you were on minimum pay in a workplace. And the biggest and most common challenge that I often find with business owners, whether you're just starting out in business or you're already established business owner, is underestimating the amount of time that things take and the amount of time that we need to allocate in a business to working in the business, and that needs to be covered by the amount of times that we're working doing with the clients that we can then pass on an invoice to. We've got to ensure that the invoice is significantly higher than the amount of money it's costing us to be able to deliver that service, in order that we can continue to grow and sustain a business. So that's the number one criteria, is ensure that you are fully appreciative of the amount of time that things take, both working on it and in it, and have priced accordingly. I'll be back tomorrow with the second of those 9 pricing problems that people face, and again a way of being able to address those and overcome them. If you've got something from today, I'd be delighted if you'd be kind enough to be able to share that with somebody else within your network, and say, hey, if you're into running your own business and you're looking at pricing right now, then perhaps you ought to take out just 10 minutes and watch this short video. God bless, take care, and I'll see you again tomorrow.